I know that you have been waiting for a long time for this. I've been waiting. This is your last reminder that if your mentor coordinator or your coach is not here, send them a text right now. They need to be here. They need to be here. Who are you riding with? Well, your cowhands today are me, Jenny Butts, and Gina Harold. Can you say howdy to everybody?
Howdy, partners. Great to have you all with us today.
There is nobody I would rather do this roundup with than my partner in crime, my best partner, Gina. So thanks for doing this.
My pleasure.
All right, we have more than 500 registrations today. I don't think we're going to have 500 people because I personally have never been on a Zoom call where everyone who registers actually shows up. But we already have almost 200, so we have more than is normal. So I'm going to please ask if you are wearing cowboy gear, especially like Renee Sullivan and Amy Kritzman. I want to see your camera on because I want to see your Dude Ranch hands, your clothes for that. Like Gina and I came prepared. I'm also going to ask that we would just take a moment right now and you would mute yourselves. I know there's probably a setting where I could have done that before and I didn't do it. That's on me. But if you could, please, you can mute yourselves. I have been going through and muting a couple of people as we go, and I've got Gina Harold to help me as well. So we want to make sure that we don't have lots and lots of peripheral noise because we have a lot of stuff that we need to cover. And I want to make sure that everybody gets the information they need. So during the times that Gina or I are giving you information and speaking, I love for you to keep that microphone muted. When we are saying, hey.
Oops. Sorry, Jenny, I muted you. It was easier for me to just mute everybody.
I
thought it didn't mute the host. Rookie
That's
mistake.
Okay. I've seen that before. Yeah. And then when it is time for us to get input from everybody, please use your Zoom hand. So you might want to find right now in the reactions where you can click raise hand. That way that'll bring you to the top of my screen. There are way too many people. We have more than 200 people now, and it's not a webinar. So I want to be able to see who we're talking to. And if you put your hand up, that'll bring you to the top of my screen. I can only see 25 of you at a time. And right now I have you minimized, so I can't even see that many. So that is going to help us not have a crazy out of control dude ranch. I also want you to see that, like a webinar, especially if you have been on First Year Member Essentials with me, you have seen that we have a chat, and that's going crazy because we've got people from Florida and Texas and lots of different issues going, information that's being shared here, and I want you to share that. That is great. But if you put a question in there, we are going to miss it. So would you please use the Q&A? You can locate that to be sure that you get your question. And did we start recording, Gina?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, then everything is as it should be. This is why you get the big bucks, Gina. You're a big help. I love it. All right, so let's get started with our roundup, shall we? Let's go. This is a call for mentor coordinators and chapter success coaches. I wanted you to come together, and I know that it was a little bit confusing for some people, especially for the 67 or so people who couldn't register for this call because we closed registration. Zoom has a limit of 500, and I know we probably could have double booked like a hotel or an airline, but I didn't do that because I wanted it to be clear communication between coaches and mentor coordinators. I am a firm believer, and this is the first big event and an experiment to this end, that this partnership is going to be key in keeping the new members in your chapter longer. Currently, we lose more first-year members before their renewal than we keep. Our retention rate for first year is only like 42%. So we're losing more than we're keeping. And I think you two as partners, howdy, are the key to keeping them longer. So that is my premise, and we're going to test that out with just a few hundred of our closest friends. New members are excited about marketing their businesses with BNI. I wish you all could see the excited email responses I get to the follow-up emails after First Year Member Essentials. People writing back with so many exclamation marks. I can't wait to get started. This was such great information. I have a great group. I can't wait to make money and pass referrals. Members are excited right when they come in. You remember your first relationships, a brand new friend, when you have something new, a new toy at Christmas. We are excited about it. We also know that they don't know how the system works. So if you set a 6-year-old loose in a Pilates room, they are not going to get fit. They are probably going to hurt themselves. And so we need to help these new members understand how to use the system they've just invested a chunk of their time and money into. We also know across business, and we are a business organization, that it is 7 times more expensive and it's more effort to find new clients and members than it is to keep happy the ones we have. We see this in all kinds of things, and we talked about this in mentor coordinator training back in September. The chapters who keep their members, those are the ones who are busy making money and passing referrals. The ones who keep losing those new members have to spend so much more energy recruiting and inviting and trying to fill up the chapter. So the effort should be in making money and passing referrals, not in just filling spots because we're bringing them in the front door and they're leaving in the back door. We also know that larger chapters, when they do grow, they keep their members longer and they make more money by passing more referrals. So when you hear all of us in BNI saying, have a visitor event, have a growth event, fill up those contact spheres, let's grow, 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 it's because we know you will make more money. It's the most effective way for you to grow your business through referrals is by having more people in your network. We know this is true, so we want to keep those referral partners in our chapters. And finally, we know in business, and I'm going to guess the same thing is going to be true in our BNI chapters as well. When we increase customer retention by 5%, it can increase revenue by between 25 and 95%. So if we focus like a laser beam on just keeping our new members informed and excited for 90 days, I'm convinced that we are going to be able to keep more of them for that first year. And then once they know how to use the system, the referrals will just keep going, and everybody will make more money. So this call is for you coaches and mentor coordinators to work together to focus on the first 90 days of a new member's experience. Once you get the momentum going, it will be way easier, and they're going to be more likely to stick around and have a renewal. And that first time they do a 7-month review, they're going to be busting. They're going to be happier than a dog with 2 tails, I tell you, because their BNI membership is so great. So that's what we're about today, the first 90 days of a new membership. And we are going to focus on 3 particular things. We are going to talk about the Member Success Program 2.0, which is only new since November officially to all of our members. So I want to do a rundown of that. We're also going to talk about the Passport to Success. And some of that now is incorporated into the Member Success Program 2.0. So we'll talk about how chapters are using that and how we can make it even more effective. And I also want to be sure that all of you understand the reasoning behind the package that we call First Year Member Essentials. I know some of you were on with me yesterday for the first time, and I was very happy to see so many coaches and mentor coordinators who were on that call. We also, for the first time, had people on the call from New Zealand and Mexico and the Czech Republic and a couple of other countries, because we are finding that this is a very successful program, and I will tell you a little bit more about that as we go forward. So let's get started with a poll. Gina, if you could launch the poll that we have for everybody, I want us to set the stage. We've got some cowboy lingo as a pop quiz. How would you use this expression? You're all hat and no cattle. If you were in a business setting, would it be to describe someone who doesn't have collateral for a loan? Maybe somebody who's all talk and no action? Somebody who needs to increase their inventory? Or how would maybe you're describing a person who just has a whole lot of ideas under that hat? All hat and no cattle. And then do you think it's a good thing or not a good thing? What have we got? I have to say, for 200, almost 300 people, you guys are being very well behaved with your mute button. So good job. Nobody for unmuting.
They're also very quick on the trigger with their answer to our poll. So we're at 75% already. So that's pretty amazing.
We don't have to spur anybody, right?
No.
With our boots.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Put that lasso away.
So much misused vocabulary today,
Right.
Gina, from two suburban ladies on opposite sides of the country. All fur coat and no knickers, Ivan.
Here you
go.
go.
Is that what the cowboys in the UK call it? That's awesome. All right, maybe nobody really cares, and they're not gonna answer. We're at 80%. Let's just give it like 10 more seconds.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Kristen. It's probably not good. Let's share the results. Yeah, it's just describing somebody who's all talk and no action. You're all hat and no cattle. It's not a good thing. And the reason that I wanted to bring this up is because this is exactly the opposite experience we want our new members to have. We all start with the best intentions and we say, I'm going to make so much money. I'm going to pass referrals. I'm going to have all the one-to-ones, finish the passport, do MSP, get my presentation, and we get so excited. And sometimes it's the new members who are all hat and no cattle. Sometimes it's us. And so we need to make sure we're going to put our money where our mouth is and exercise that core value of accountability. But I'm convinced that a lot of chapters aren't doing all the things that will make new members successful because they don't know how. And so I don't want that to be the case for you. In 45 minutes, you will no longer have that excuse. I promise you, you are going to have the tools you need, and then we're going to do some follow-up in the coming weeks. So let's get started with Member Success Program. That is what we have affectionately come to refer to members MSP, and this is MSP 2.0. So I want you to put in the chat, let's hear what you have to say. Why do we have something called Member Success Program at the very beginning of a member's membership? Why do we have anything at all, let alone this specific thing that we're going to explore? What do you think is the reasoning behind that, having it? A fast start to success. I like somebody said that. Yeah, because success is right in the name, isn't it? Yeah, invest in the new people. Yeah, they have a lot to navigate for sure. Yeah, they're buying a system and they need to learn the path. I love that. Whoever said that, because you can see how fast the chat's going. Whoever said it gives them a path. A path. Yeah. Somebody else said it's their beep in gear. Yes. Yeah. It's showing them how to use the system. Also, expectations. I see somebody mentioned in here. Yes. So when a new member or even a visitor is applying, the visitor host doesn't need to give them every single expectation of the chapter, but they can start, and the membership committee can start, so that by the time they actually are inducted, they don't seem surprised that it's more than 90 minutes a week. There are still some new members who come in and say, what do you mean I have to do anything? I thought I would just show up and people would give me referrals. Is that not the case? And we want to give some clear expectations. The new Member Success Program 2.0 is different from what we've been doing for the last few years in a couple of ways. First of all, it has, and Gina, you know this way better than I do, so you can correct me at any point and just step in here if there's more to say. This one doesn't have a lot of the click the arrow to go forward to the next thing. It doesn't have a lot of modules that require a quiz or a test or clicking. It is really plug and play so that your new members are able to look at very important information, especially in this first week. And there are 8 weeks. We'll go through each one so you know what's included. But this first week should take them less than an hour. And they can download this document, the Member Success Program 2.0 workbook, which I believe, if it hasn't already been, then Gina has uploaded it or will upload it a couple of times, the workbook for Member Success Program 2.0. That way your new member has something right here in their hands to move forward and do what they need to do for their next steps. It's also going to have a little lesson about giving a powerful weekly presentation. And you can see that last unit is about a feature presentation. They will go through these in order because they won't be allowed to click to the next thing until they've completed the one before it. There's no timing requirement, so they could do them one right after another in one sitting, which is exactly what I did. Boom, 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 you're done in less than an hour. You also could do one and then come back to it later, but you can't do powerful weekly presentations and skip right to feature presentations. It is going to talk about how to have really great one-to-ones, how to grow your referral network. That's what B&I is so great at teaching people, how to network effectively. How to give referrals, because Gina and I have had known studies over the years that one of the main reasons members stay for the first year is because they give a referral early on. So we want our new members to understand how to give you referrals before they focus on getting referrals, because givers gain is very important to us and it's in our DNA. And then we want to show them maximizing referrals through visibility. This is going to start with, but not only include things like having a good attendance record, showing up on time, staying for the whole meeting, having a good substitute when you're not there. And then we'll give them some tips on the feature presentation. A lot of these things have some overlap to the first year member essentials. And I get that comment on almost every survey from at least one person, but that's intentional because I don't know about you. And even if you're younger than me, I'm sure you experienced this. I don't remember everything I hear one time. So we are going to make sure they hear it more than one time, and we're going to keep giving them those tips. So if you have not yet checked out the new Member Success Program 2.0, it is a public and widely available module so that you can go into B&I Business Builder, and the quickest way to get there is just to do a search for 2.0. There are not very many things called 2.0, and it should pop up right at the beginning as the first or one of the first things that you see. So that's the premise of it. Is there anything, Gina, before we go on to subsequent weeks and talk about what's in them, is there anything that you wanted to address or any questions you think everybody wants to hear the answer to?
So I'll just say a couple of things. Anna just put it in the chat. All new members are now automatically assigned Member Success Program 2.0. Here's what we know. If you guys know me well at all, you have heard me say that learning is not an event, it is a journey. And so our goal with this program was to address the best way that adults learn, which is through a blended modality. So at their own pace in some cases, some of it's in person, some of it's virtual instructor led throughout their new member journey. And so that has been our goal, is to create a program. We also engaged with, some of you may know, Robert Scrobe, who is a retention expert. And he said, look, value, like water, when you have too much of it, is in fact too much. And so we want to help members get up to speed and merge into the existing traffic of their chapter and get off to a successful start. And that is really the reason behind this 2.0 program. It's self-directed. It's really, easy to use, in my opinion. As they finish each module, they can just move right through it. It's the basic elements they need to learn at the beginning of their journey, and then we will continue to upskill them and give them more tools and information. That was probably more than you wanted, Jenny, but there you go.
No, I never can have enough. That was
Hashtag
good.
lifelong learning.
Yes. I think by the end of today, we're going to hit all of the core values. We've already touched on givers gain, lifelong learning, and accountability. There's only 4 to go. We'll get there. You can play along at home. So we'll go through the rest of these quite quickly, because these are just kind of an overview of screenshots of the kinds of things. But what I want to show you for this one, which is the same as for all of the other ones, but we don't need to linger on all of them, is you can see that these weeks, each week is a combination of documents that you can download. You can see at the very top here, the gains worksheet. This is a great thing for them to be able to download so they can send it to people they have one-to-ones with to build those relationships, which is a core value. Right now we've got 4. Then we also have a guide they can download. They've got a podcast they can listen to. We also have them looking at a couple of other things. But the two I want you to notice at the bottom are two of the one-to-ones that are already incorporated in your Passport to Success. So this new version of MSP, Member Success Program 2.0, incorporates the Passport program. So most, but not all, of the one-to-ones are actually part of the Member Success Program. That means as they're going through one, they're actually making progress in the other. So it's going to be a lot more efficient and effective for them to be having one-to-ones, building relationships, and getting the information they need on an ongoing basis. So if they were to do one of these a week, they'd be having 2 one-to-ones this second week, and you'll see that the pattern is either 2 or 1 through the 8 weeks of the program. So at the end of the MSP 2.0, they will have 8 of their 10 one-to-ones from the Passport. They're almost done. So this is a great way for you to do those side by side. And if you're tracking them, and we'll give you some tools for tracking in some follow-up emails that I'll send. But I just wanted you to see the combination of things. So it's really very interactive in these blended modalities that Gina was talking about. The training team, the global training team, has been working really hard to hit all kinds of learners where their strengths are. So downloading documents, things they can read, things they can keep, interactions, videos they can watch, and so on. So the focus for the second week is one-to-ones. The focus for week 3 is your weekly presentation. This is very practical for our brand new members because a lot of them don't know how to stand up and talk about their businesses in 30 seconds. That's why they join BNI, so that they can get better at doing so. So you see there's a 7-minute guide to some weekly presentations. You've got your weekly presentation planning document. You can work on those kinds of things. And then you have a mentor meeting as part of the Passport with the past or current secretary treasurer to talk about whatever kinds of things the secretary treasurer has been informed by you, mentor coordinator, to cover based on the materials you got when you did your training in September. There's also a video presentation in here that will give them more information. Week 4 continues the trend. Look at that. There's a video by Gina Harold herself right there. Also some planning documents they can download and a one-to-one with the member who leads the way in feature presentations. Someone who does really effective feature presentations. We want our new members to talk to that person. Check it off the Passport list. That's a really great resource and a person to build relationships with. Week 5 is about inviting. New members know more people outside BNI than people who kind of get insular after a while. Once in a while, after somebody's been in a chapter, they say, well, these 20 people are my network. Where else would I go? When in fact, we want you to keep going and keep expanding your networks. So we've got a podcast, another mentor meeting, and some things to download to help with inviting. But we want to give context as well as strategies and tools to do that. So that's what week 5 is going to be for the new members. Week 6, this is something every single chapter I've been to should know. Our referral and testimonial time has a very elastic definition, as you may know from visiting chapters or in your own chapter. Hi, my name is Jenny, and this is my business, and I just want to talk about a one-to-one that I had with somebody. Or I just want to thank you for that great referral you gave me. These are not referrals and testimonials. This is going to help our new members understand what a referral and testimonial is. A testimonial is about someone else in the chapter. You're shining the spotlight on them. And we talk about a referral. It's a referral I'm giving to someone else. This is the giver's gain part of the meeting. And so we want our new members to understand that right away, because that's how we build credibility within the members of the chapter and among the visitors. So there's a podcast to listen to. We're also going to talk to someone in the membership committee and how the testimonial part was born. Responsibilities and referrals, it's all your fault. Well, that's interesting. Maybe you should check that out, huh? I don't know. And then week 7, we're getting close to the end. Learning resources, there's that core value. We're going to help our new members understand how to navigate BNI Connect and BNI Business Builder. And they're also going to have a mentor meeting through the Passport with their education coordinator. That is going to help them understand where they can find learning activities. We know that the question comes up a lot, and I cover it every month in the first year member essentials. The question comes up, if I go to a sales meeting with my company, does that count as a CEU? Is that lifelong learning? Absolutely. Is it helping you be a better networker in your chapter? Probably not. I would bet that your high school math teacher didn't care how much Shakespeare you read. It's just not relevant to the math class. So we want to help our members make the most of the membership they have in BNI. That's what they invested in. So we want them to use it well and make as much money as possible. And then week 8 is when they complete it. Woohoo! The fireworks are mine. Those aren't part of BNI Business Builder. But we want them to know what they should do next steps, because now they're 2 months old in a BNI chapter. They should, when they're finished here, they can go right onto the speaker rotation, or when they're getting close, the secretary treasurer can plan for that. And we want them to be aware of and participate in the chapter with key skills workshops. And we can talk more about those as well. That's a great resource. And we want to have more meetings with mentors. The new member learning journey, we are still working on making that even more accessible and more chock full of good stuff. So that's just a brief overview. Maybe not as brief as some of you would have liked, but it is as brief as I know how to do it about what's in it. We are going to talk about getting people there and tracking progress in just a moment. But before we do, I want to pause and see if there's anything in the chat or the Q&A that maybe we should address, because the audience participation part is coming.
I've been answering everything kind of as we're going. Some of similar questions about our new returning members being assigned a Member Success Program 2.0, and that's a great question. I do not know. So I will need to find that out for you. I think it depends on how they're designated in BNI Connect as to whether or not they would be auto-assigned. Several people asked, if they haven't done MSP yet, can we assign the new one? Absolutely, that would be fantastic. Christina, the workbook is available when you log into Member Success Program 2.0. It's the first module, and that will allow you to download the workbook. And then as you do each individual module, if there are supporting tools and materials, those are downloadable from that section. So you can get them there. Jenny, they want to know if they're going to be getting these slides sent via email. Are we planning to do a follow-up? So we will do that.
Indeed.
So Liz, there is the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Cindy, I'm actually going to put the tracking BNI activity document into the chat, because Jenny and I have had this question many times about what constitutes a BNI CEU. Your continuing education as a CPA is not a BNI CEU. It's lifelong learning, but it doesn't qualify. So people want it in writing sometimes, and we do have the tracking BNI activity that gives guidance on what constitutes a BNI CEU. So I'm
enjoying the conversation in the chat. So thank you everyone for being so entertaining. 0.2 font size. Mentor coordinators are awesome. Yeah, that's it. That's what it says, John. All right, well then let me hear from you with your Zoom hand or just in the chat. Although I think if you would like to describe something, I think we'll hear it better if you are unmuted and you can tell us. What are some of the things that you are doing successfully in your chapters? Or if you are a chapter success coach, what are the things you're seeing done in chapters you support to get people enrolled in this? How do we get new members to know that it's been assigned to them and to move their way through either the old MSP before November or the MSP 2.0? How are you getting them? How are you rounding them up, so to speak, and getting them into the corral so that they can be doing the things that they need to do? Cindy, we'll start with you.
I'm just letting them know that this is low hanging fruit to help them with the overwhelm. So that's what I'm doing.
That's great messaging, because it can feel like when you're part of a new club or something, I don't speak this language. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And Gina and I just finished a book by Joey Coleman called Never Lose a Customer Again. And he says the onboarding process needs to make sure that people know where to go for help, what's the next step, and is this worth what I just paid for it? And so if we can help them do that by saying, hey, this is fast track for success, Cindy, I think that's really good messaging. Janice.
I took the advice from the mentor coordinator training about doing the huddle meeting. So we added that in. Really helpful at the end of the meeting to answer any questions. We try to do it with the format. And when we are adding 3 or 4 members at a time, I get somebody that's been a member less than 90 days, if possible, to kind of be their buddy, because they've just
Oh.
recently gone through it. And, you know, we
Yeah.
started out with, we know it's a lot to learn in the beginning, but here's what it is, and we're here to help you. So the huddle meeting is the big, big piece.
Yeah, that's good. You wear that hat really well, Janice, by the way. You're crushing it. Yeah. And I think that brings up a good point, Janice, that it's super important as the mentor coordinator that you are having conversations with your visitor hosts, membership committees, and presidents, because it should be a smooth handoff and transition from the first time they visit all the way through the first 90 days and beyond. But if your president has a thing that he or she does regularly with new members, mentor coordinators, you should know about that, and vice versa, so that they're not doubling up on material or falling through the cracks. So that leadership team communication is really important. Deborah, what else?
Well, I kind of I created a new member kit that I hand out to each new member, and we went through all of the mentors and established a timeline. And then I created emails, so when they're done with their message or their one-to-one with that particular new member, then they have an email that they can share with them that goes to set them up with the next one in the chain. So, and then as the mentor coordinator, there's 2 of us in our group. We review each week who's where and what in the process and make sure that there is no gaps in case there's someone out. But it's really, I think we spend that initial time with their new member kit, kind of orienting them to the passport and their documents. And then we give them a lot of that background data that here's a one-to-one demo, you know, kind of like the mock-ups, here's the gains, here's the tops. And then we kind of set them up for success with that.
Good.
So
Yeah, that's good. And maybe knowing that what now you can know exactly what's in the MSP 2.0, you can, as you're having conversations, you can refer, well, you know how that happened. You got that in week 2. And then you're reinforcing the learning from various places. That sounds really, really great. Mr. Rivers, also nice hat.
Thank you. So I love processes. So I use Microsoft Outlook, and I made templates for the emails, and I copy the different sections of the different mentors into different emails, and I put the mentors already on the CC line. So now when I go in and I open up that template, I just have to paste the new member's email address and type their first name and hit send. So then pairs them with their mentors. So I have 11 of those set up, including the chapter success coach. Within 24 hours of them being accepted into the chapter, I send them 1 email with their personalized passport to success, with their bio sheet, their gains exchange. And then I tell them, you're going to get 11 more emails to set you up with your mentors, but I want you to set up a one-to-one with me so we can set up the expectations of how I act as the mentor coordinator. And then we review the entire passport together within the first week of their membership, even maybe before they go to their first meeting. So that way we set the expectations that they will be done in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I want them not done in 12 weeks. I want them done in 8 weeks. So if they have to bleed over just a little bit, we're okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of fun to have a process.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's in that core value of accountability. So I really appreciate that you're mentioning all those things. And we are going to talk about some of that accountability after this next one. So let's hear from Dan and Francis, and then we will move on to the next thing so we can talk about how to see where they're progressing. Because so far we've heard a lot about, I do this and then I do this. And that first week, new members are like, what? So the onus is going to be on you who are already in the chapters to help walk them through it, because they're going to lose their way. But Dan and Francis, first Dan, then Francis, what else would you add to this?
So I'll try and make this as concise as I can. I've got a few points though. The first, I wanted to reiterate on what Cindy said about the low-hanging fruit, and it kind of combines with another point that I had, but I think it's very important to let the new members know, you know, show them the power of one report, show them that there are red and gray members in our chapter, and let the psychology get into their head that I don't want to be one of those red members. And it's also important, like Cindy said, to point out the low-hanging fruit, you know, getting referrals, getting visitors and things like that, that takes takes work, but showing up every week, doing a one-to-one, doing your CEU, that's stuff that anybody can do without really any challenges. John, I love the template emails idea. I use something very, very similar, and it really speeds up the process. Just have that typed out and just have it ready to go. The other thing, and this is kind of a new point that I wanted to add, I had a member recently kind of complain about the ebb and flow of his business, you know, that he's got busy seasons, he's got slow seasons, and he really kind of touched on, I'm nervous about my ability to keep up with all of these requirements when I hit a busy season. And I think it's very advantageous to us to point out to them that these weekly requirements are really an average. If you do 4 referrals in a week, we're not going to harass you if the next 3 weeks you don't have a referral, because you're still averaging 1 a week. So I really stress to that member that when you've got your slow seasons, stack up and really try and get ahead on your one-to-ones and your CEUs. That way, when you hit your busy season, you're not going to fall behind.
Yeah, there's some real wisdom in there. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Francis, bring us home. Back
So
to the barn.
surely. So I also have a kit that I put together with different things, some of which I was actually very lucky because it was passed down to me from my mentor coordinator when I first joined, which was in 2008, an old launch Menti packet. And I've taken pieces of it and created a packet that I give to my new members. I also will reach out to the members before their first meeting to let them know that I need and want, because it is both, to meet with them, if not before that first meeting, but right after it, so that they understand what this is. I let them know this is not something they're going to expect to understand in a day. The expectation is there that they're going to have questions, and that I'm there to be the mentor coordinator to help them. And if I don't have the complete answer, to put them to the person who's going to have the perfect answer for them.
Yeah,
So
that's so
it's
great.
setting the expectation right away.
Yeah. Yeah. If they want to know where they go for help, then if you identify yourself early on, even if you're not the person, that's a great point, Francis. If you're not the person, they're going to ask you first, and you'll say, I'm not your guy. You need to talk to Sabrina or John or Gina. Those are your people this time, but they need to know where to start. And I think that one-to-one early in their membership is crucial to make that happen. So I'm going to talk to chapter success coaches real briefly, because I want you to help your mentor coordinators. You each have a special way that you can track the progress, not to be Big Brother and to make anybody feel ashamed, but so that you can help them along, because it might fall through the cracks. In BNI Business Builder, chapter success coaches can find the progress of each of their people by going into reporting. And I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, but you will get the slide deck so that you can open up BNI Business Builder and look at these slides at the same time to make sure that you're clicking on the right place. Then you can go through, you'll go to training programs, and you can see here 2.0 is going to come up right away when you're searching for it, Member Success Program 2.0. So that's how you'll find it. And then you'll start to see, you can go by region and chapter. So you can check, coaches, you can check each of your chapters to see your new members and how they're tracking, so that if your mentor coordinator gets busy in one area, you can help keep them on track, and vice versa. So once you go into the Member Success Program, you can see here, we've got Linda Minda, Terry Berry, and Rick James. They are all new members in this chapter. And so as you're looking through here, you can see who has completed all of their Member Success Program 2.0. Who's done? You can just put his name or her name into the chat. Who's completely finished? Linda, that's right. Thank you, Renee. Linda Minda, she is done. Very good. Now, what can we learn about Terry Berry or Rick James? Remember, any kind of statistics are just going to be a snapshot. But what are some of the things you could learn by looking at this about Terry Berry and Rick James's progress? Terry Berry needs help. Yes, Matt, Rick started it. We don't know if he got distracted, if he lost the link, but he started, and he at least did part of a unit, because we also know that maybe Terry started it, but he didn't finish the first unit. Each time you complete a part of it, it will show your progress. So if you did 13 minutes of a 14-minute thing, but you didn't finish, it will still show 0. So then you get to have some of those conversations around, hey, I noticed you got this back in the middle of November, end of November. We're not making progress real quick. Do you still have the link? Can I help walk you through? You can measure their progress. So the coaches, we will want you to be in touch with your mentor coordinators. Remember, this is a great partnership to say, hey, I'm noticing so-and-so is stuck at 50% and it's been like that for a few weeks. Have you had a conversation with your new member? Because I want you to be having those conversations within your chapters to make sure that it's working for you as a chapter. Your coach is here to support you. So coaches, I want you to have your first line of questioning be with the mentor coordinator. We don't want you to go around them and go directly to the member, because chances are if you mentor coordinators are on top of things, you're having those conversations. And if I'm a coach and I say, hey, John Rivers, I see you've got Terry Berry in your chapter, not making a lot of progress. John's going to give me the lowdown. He's going to say, let me tell you why. He's on medical leave, or this happened, or that happened. So we want you to be on top of the process with your new members so you know the story. You also can, if you choose to, and maybe you chapter success coaches have done this before, you can sign up in Business Builder to schedule a report. So maybe you have all the new members in any given chapter. You set up a member success program 2.0 report, and it comes to you every Monday morning. And it will automatically come, and B&I Business Builder and it will say, you've got mail. I don't know if any of you remember the early days of AOL when we were, anyway. So that is how you can check the progress of how your new members are faring. Now, mentor coordinators, you may or may not have this access, but I know chapter success coaches do. So mentor coordinators, you will be able to look into B&I Connect. B&I Business Builder is being updated very regularly by our operations team so that you should be able to see when someone is complete. It won't tell you their percentage of progress like B&I Business Builder, but it will tell you if someone has completed it. So if somebody says, I did it, it's done. I did it a week ago, but it's not showing up here, there's a disconnect somewhere. So you can say, well, let's go into Business Builder. Coach, can you look in Business Builder and verify this? Maybe they thought they finished, but they didn't. Maybe they're blowing smoke. Maybe they're all no cattle. I don't know. There could be a lot of reasons, but this is going to tell us that we need to have the conversation. It won't give us all the information that we need. So you can go into B&I Connect under reports, chapter, member training report. That's the very first option. And you want to look at a set time frame of maybe the last 3 months, 5 months, whatever it is. And then you want to look for member success program. If you wanted to check everybody in the chapter, you could do that to say, when did they finish? If I've been a member 8 years, it will still show up that I finished member success program. So you can check on your entire chapter or just your new members. Does that seem clear? I hope it does, because I'm ready to move to the next thing. Again, you will get these slides. So if there are little bits and pieces you're not sure of, then you can go back, and when it's time, when you have your laptop open or something, then you can look and see. All right, so now I would like to, for the sake of time, I'd like to put this just into the chat and we can capture some of these ideas. How are you celebrating when your new members complete this? Because if they've been working at it for 2 months and having conversations and they're excited, but now it's been 6 weeks, 8 weeks, we're just getting done. What are the things you're doing to say, this is our mile marker, this is our Ebenezer, if you will, those stacked rocks that people put hiking. This marks the time when you were finished, and recognition is a core value. And so we want to be sure that we are recognizing those who finish. So you can put it in the chat. So I'm already seeing that we've got some certificates. We give them a shee-hoo. I love that. Shout them out in the meeting. And if you've got your hand raised and you can do it like in 20 or 30 seconds and tell us what you do, I'd love to hear it. Janice, you want to start?
We have a weekly slide with a football theme. We've got the football field, and we move their little bobbleheads along as they progress, and then we do a touchdown at the end.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Francis, what else? Oops, unmute. Nope, you're still muted. There we go.
We do a certificate and we also do a graduation cupcake for them, bringing them up to the front of the chapter.
Oh, I love that, a graduation cupcake. I'm gonna be in that chapter. Dan,
We have a
what do you
baker in our
do?
cupcake, in our chapter.
So good. Dan,
Not
what
quite a
else?
graduation cupcake, but we are toying with the idea of kind of doing a big shout out, you know, like a 2-minute thing during our meeting and then giving them like a little $25 coffee gift card, something like
Oh.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I do think having them sometime in the meeting is great because visitors see it and your fellow members see it. And brand new members see somebody 2 months further down the road and they're like, oh, I get a cupcake when I'm done. Oh, they're gonna put my little player goes in to get a touchdown. Oh, that's so great. I know there's a chapter in Florida. Maybe somebody from that chapter is on the call where they'll do graduation robe when they finish passport or MSP, and they give them a little scroll wrapped up and they'll, or a certificate or something. I think when passports are, we'll talk about the passport later, but when something is completed, we want to have a sense of closure, because then that makes them feel like, now I'm ready to transition, like now I'm a real boy, and they get to move on like Pinocchio did, and they get to be a real part of the family. So all those are great ideas. Keep them coming in the chat, because I think we have so many more people who begin things than we do who end them. And we want to celebrate the people who persevere, and the accountability leads them to the recognition. How do you like that? I rolled up multiple core values in one. All right, let's talk about the passport very briefly. Now you know that some of that is rolled up into the new MSP 2.0, but I want you to know, if you wanted to have this be a separate thing and you want to, well, you'll still want it to be a separate thing because you'll want to mark this off, even though they're having them as part of MSP. Where do you find it? Because we have them all online right now. We may or may not go back to in-person things that you can put in your hands. I don't have the answer, so don't ask and expect an answer. How are we going to use these? And then how do we recognize them when they're completed? So just real briefly, when you go into Business Builder, you'll go to the Resources tab. That's what I pulled out, that bigger letter, so you can see that. So you have Business Builder Resources, and you can just do a search for passport. And you will see, you'll want to be sure that it says now fillable. And there is one in there that is fillable, and Jennifer Tolley put it up there if that helps you. Again, you will get these slides so that you can make sure you have the right one. And that's a PDF that's fillable. So as they go, they can put in the dates and the people's names as it goes. In addition, we are going to send some resources to you, and this is part of what we did in your September training, but that was a while ago. There is a tracker that you can use. It's also a fillable PDF, so that you can track in a less dramatic fashion than on a football field right before a touchdown, where everybody is in the lineup. You could use this on a slide during your meeting. You could just have it printed out maybe and displayed, however you want to use it. But this does exist in BNI Business Builder. So this is a way you can keep track, especially when we do International Networking Week and maybe you have a lot of new members because of an event, or when we have extravaganza or a big fall event. Any of those times when you might get more than one or two, you're going to want to keep track of them, because over the course of 8 weeks, wouldn't it be great, excuse me, if you had 1 or 2 new members a week, and they're going to be all over the place. You want to track it, hashtag accountability. And this is one of the ways that you can do that. All right. For your passport, I would guess this is one of the most inconsistent practices with our new members in our chapters. And the purpose of the passport is A, to help them build relationships, core value alert, and also so they can learn in little bites at a time about different parts of the BNI process. Like, how do I find a substitute? What's the attendance policy? What does it mean to be a member of the Gold Club when we don't even have anything gold? It's not even one of our colors. Where do I look for learning and CEUs and those kinds of things? So this one we're going, because we've got only 10 minutes, I can't even believe it. We're moving as fast as we can. I would like you to just put in the chat what is working well for your chapter. And then maybe some obstacles that you are having, like we just can't get people to finish. We can't get them over that finish line. Or this is working great because I am the mentor coordinator and I do check this every week, or whatever your thing is. What is working for the passport? I'm convinced it's a valuable program, but I'm equally convinced people don't know how to use it effectively. So I'm curious to see and capture, when we can save the chat when we're finished here, how you do it in a way that works, and where are some of the roadblocks that you are experiencing with, specifically with the passport. So you guys can be putting these in the chat. Chapter members not knowing. Yes, yes. Yeah, double. So the new members reach out to the mentors and vice versa. I think that's good. You know, you're going to lose less that way. Yeah, they do. They start out strong and then they fizzle. Yeah, so maybe you need like a halfway celebration. Maybe add that to the football thing. We have a halftime celebration on their way, right, where we do something at halftime. Yep, I know, Sebastian, we've had a lot of people talk about actually printing the passport again. We're looking at that. Yep. Mentor coordinator moments. I like that, Renee. That's good. Oh my gosh, Jane, that's such a good point, that sometimes the older members like, oh, we don't do that anymore. Isn't that the worst? Come on, we want to keep growing our business. When do you ever say, I don't want to do my business anymore? Well, maybe when you're ready to sell it. Yeah, the leadership team has to get bought in, right? Your president needs to stay consistent. And if your member mentors are excited, then your new members are going to be excited. So you want to get buy-in as frequently as possible. Maybe it means a quarterly education moment to keep everybody reminded of why this is such an important thing. Yeah, and why would you not do member success each year as a refresher, or to do the passport and have those, mix up the member mentors a little bit? Yeah. A list of, yeah, I think that visible progress is a nice measure of accountability. There's no shame in being a little bit behind, because if a member hasn't moved forward in whatever the scorecard is you have, then it's up to everybody else to go, come on, let's have a one-to-one. How do you need help? Let me have a one-to-one with you. Let me move you through this, because I think it's really an important thing. All right, so then what are we doing to celebrate, to recognize? And I know that maybe some of them are the same as the MSP, and you could roll them into one. You could have them be very separate. I think it's nice to have rock star moments multiple times for our new members, so they feel like they're very visible and it's helpful for their memberships. So maybe they're getting another certificate. Maybe, I remember for a while, I had ordered a whole bunch of little luggage tags. And when members in Western Washington were finished with their passport, we said, your passport's been stamped. Now you're really ready to go places. Here is your luggage tag. Or if you could give them a little suitcase now that they're ready to travel. Look how my fringe goes. Yeah. All kinds of ideas, but celebrating when they are finished as a way of recognition is going to make them feel like it's done, they're established, and now things are really ready to take off. All right, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Let's talk about the last thing. This is the shortest one. I just want you as mentor coordinators and coaches to work together to help your new members be aware of First Year Member Essentials, which has been going on for about 2.5 years now. And we've measured a lot of statistics, and I'm so excited about what we're discovering. For those of you who may not know what this is a twice monthly webinar that I lead. I lead it every single time. I think one time I've missed in the last 2.5 years. And I'm going to be speaking at an event in March, and I have to miss it again. So of all of the times, I am always the person who does it. And I always have a managing director who does it with me. And we cover this information. Again, we have worked with Robert Scrobe, a retention expert, and we have talked about these 7 things because these are the questions that most of our new members ask. If you're looking through here, you're probably saying, yes, I get new members ask me this a lot. What's the difference between Business Builder and BNI Connect? What's the regional website? Where's the calendar? We have so many resources that it can be too much. And so we need to help them speak our language. So we talk about the acronyms. How do they give a good presentation? And what can they do right now so that their membership can be valuable? We don't want them to hear anybody say and believe it, your membership won't be valuable for at least a year. Let's never tell a new member that again. Their memberships can be valuable right now. And so we want to help them do that. So we've been doing this for a little over 2 years now, and I just want you to know how I reach the people so that they know about it. So your new members are getting this, whether you as a mentor coordinator are aware of it or not. And if you haven't yet, I would love for you to register for one of these. They're on all of your regional calendars so that you can see what your new members are hearing from me. We have about 1,100 new members a month in CORE. And so I send an email to everybody who has joined a chapter in the past 60 days. So I try to cast a pretty wide net. And I say, here are the times for the month when you can join First Year Member Essentials. And I send them the link. They don't even have to look at the calendar. New members don't know where the calendar is. So they just click on the link in the email. Then the day before the second Tuesday, which is the first webinar we have, I send them a reminder email. The same people in BNI Connect, I just keep rolling the 60 days. Hey, some of you are registered, but I wanted all of you to get a reminder. Here's what we're doing tomorrow. If you can make it, we love it. If not, check your regional calendar and tell them how to do that. And then the day before the other webinar, I do the same thing. And then the day after each webinar, I send them a follow-up email. They get the slide deck, and I also have step-by-step instructions on how to enter a CEU into BNI Connect. Our new members don't know how to do this, and we forget that they don't know. And so I am just holding the hands of 2,000 people every month as we're walking through this. And we have about 30% of our new members who are going through this program, just based on these emails and the nudges that I know a lot of you are giving in your chapters and in the chapters you support. So these are some things that we've learned, and this is what's making me very excited about this program right now. We know that of all of the things on the survey that they follow up with, they say, I wish we had had more time to talk about the websites. That means if you as the mentor coordinator or as the chapter success coach, both of whom are on Passport 1-to-1, so you're talking to them anyway, you want to start by saying, have you had any trouble navigating websites? Chances are they're going to say yes, because this is the question I get more than any other question on their survey. Your new members do not know where to go to find answers to their questions. And so helping them navigate the websites will be very valuable. We also know that they want more help to do good weekly and feature presentations. They're getting some tips from me and whoever's co-hosting with me. Now they're getting it in MSP 2.0 in a very clear way. And you have seen, we are telling them over and over, talk to your chapter success coach. They see a lot of these presentations. They will be able to help you. So I'm sending them to you, chapter success coaches. They also may want to talk to you, mentor coordinators. I mentioned you two positions more than anything else on these calls because you are the resident experts in a lot of things. We also know from this statistically that members who take First Year Member Essentials webinar are more likely to renew at the 1 year than members who don't. I sent 2 years worth of data to our really smart lady in Scotland named Dr. Caroline Irvine, and she showed us that the US core first year retention rate is about 42%. That means we keep about 42% of our members after the first year. So we're losing 58%. But of just the subsection of members who took this, it's almost 49%. So it's a 6% increase. So from 42 point something to 48 point something. It's, I think, a 6.3% increase. When you're increasing percentages, it's big. And so everybody's starting to go, okay, what is it about this thing that's working? And I think it's consistent communication and consistent information. So we're excited. We're also seeing 7% of the members who logged into one logged into more than one. There's a guy in Connecticut who has done it 6 times with me. That's a member. That's not you, Ellen Russell, or you, Jay Lucas. I'm talking about a member in Connecticut, a brand new member. So I told the managing director in Connecticut, there's your new chapter success coach, because this guy gets it. He understands what's happening. So this is valuable information. Our new members are hungry for it. And so you should know what your new members are being exposed to, just as if you were the parent of a teenager and you need to know what's on their phones and who they're hanging out with, right? All right, so that's what I'm doing to get them rounded up. And I know that it's right at the top of the hour. So now that you have this information, I'd love for you to either share with each other in the chat, or maybe we could do some other follow-up activities for this. Clearly an hour wasn't enough for this, but we need to make sure all of our new members know about this and that we're corralling them in that direction. All right, I have some final steps for everybody, but I am wildly impressed by how many questions Gina has answered just typing away. I bet there's smoke coming from her fingertips on that keyboard. Maybe what I'll do is this. I will give you your follow-up instructions, and then if anybody wants to stick around for Q&A, I can do that, but I want you to all have these instructions. So these are the things you can end with. I want you, if you are on the call, and I hope you are, chapter success coach and mentor coordinator, you two, or if you're a coach of 2 or 3 chapters, all of you get together and have a one-to-one after this to kind of download all the information, share, and make a plan that could work in your chapter. Then be sure that you discuss potential plans with the president. Maybe you talk about it at a chapter success meeting. Somehow we want to make sure that the chapter buys into the importance of brand new members. And then start with the new members you have now, maybe the newest members, or go back by 30 days and talk to them and make sure that they know about all the things you've talked about today. And ultimately, your best success will be if you implement one new idea, because we can't do all the things at once and know what was successful. So if we narrow down one thing, let's try it, do it for 3 months, see how it goes, then we can roll in the next thing. We have to keep these new members so people don't lose their best referral partners. The new people may be the best people, and they're certainly the most excited. We just need to make sure they understand what's required. So I'll leave you with this. Ultimately, saddle up your horses, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a trail to blaze. We want to keep those cowboys and cowgirls coming back and renewing their membership at the first year. So if you need to drop off the call, thank you for giving me an extra couple of minutes. I took 2 minutes from your day, and I really appreciate you being here on a Wednesday afternoon. If you have questions, I am happy to stick around for a little bit, but I sure do appreciate all that you do for your chapters. Yeehaw! Thanks, Megan. And thank you, as always, Gina, for riding with me out on the plains.
You got it, Kimosabi.
Are there any questions?
I think we pretty much got them all answered. I mean, there's questions about, is there going to be recording? Are we going to send the slides?
and
Things
yes.
like that. So
Mhm.
I know that when we send out the presentation and the attachments and all the things, just to make sure that everybody has all of those things. So
Yeah. I want all this information to get to everyone. I only limited the communication and the number of people here because I wanted to be able to follow up. And we had 300 and some people on this call, so that should be a much more manageable number than 1,000, or, just, I don't want to cast the net. I want to have some strategic conversations. So you are now part of my posse, if you will. And
Hey Jenny, this is Christy. Aren't passports to success part of the new member kits that are going out?
I do not know. Gina, do you happen to know?
I do not know. I know that we changed suppliers on that, and so I'm not sure what is included in the kit. I know in core for right now, we've been using the digital version because that's what we had available.
Okay.
Yeah, I wish we had more answers because that question gets asked a lot. Sorry.
Looks like we got a couple more hands up.
Yeah. Deborah.
Hi, thanks so much, you guys. This was great. Well, a couple of my mentor coordinators weren't able to attend. I'm a chapter success coach and a mentor coordinator in my chapter, but I just wanted to, you'll be sending out, I know she said that you'll be posting the slides, because I'd like to go through it with the ones that were not able to attend.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to be able to make sure that will be coming out so I can set up a one-to-one, and I'm going to try to see if I can get the 2 that weren't able to attend to do we'll do a little mentor team
Yes.
one-to-one thing. So
Yeah, I would encourage
so
that, Deborah. In fact, if I could just pause you for a second. I think it would be a really great idea if you are a chapter success coach with maybe 2 or 3 chapters. Why not get all those mentors together? Your mentor coordinators now get to network with each other, share ideas with each other, and use you as a resource so that you can make all of the chapters more effective. And they've all shared an experience. Like the one thing, if I've seen a movie and you've seen a movie, but we didn't see it together, we didn't know, you didn't see that one guy who sneezed 100 times. And that is part of the experience, right? So if you're all together and you're having the conversation, I think that will help you get some traction in the chapters. So regardless if you had some or all of your coaches on, I mean, your mentor coordinators, coaches, I would encourage you to do that as a group thing. If it doesn't work, one-to-ones could be very effective as well. But either way, I think having something is going to be key.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great idea. Yeah, thanks. Gina.
Hey everybody. So thank you so much for this, Jenny, and for all your help. Being a new region to core, it's a lot of information being thrown at me on one spot.
Yeah.
Never mind drinking from the fire hose because I'm getting it from all angles.
Yeah.
One of the things I do know is that because we were a franchise before we came over to core, we were doing the mentor program differently. And I'm still trying to figure out the passport program. Not a lot of my mentor coordinators understand the passport program. So I was wondering if there's a way of either getting some training on that or something that I can, when I grab everybody together, to run through that program as well.
Yeah. You know what might be a good idea, Gina Buchanan and Gina Harold, you can back me up if you think this. I bet we could assign to you at least, and maybe somebody else, we could assign to you the mentor coordinator training video to watch the trainings that Gina and I did in September. So you'd know what we trained core mentor coordinators to do.
That would be fabulous. That would be fabulous.
Okay.
The other thing, Jenny, I think that even just completing the e-learning as well. So there is a program for the mentor coordinators on Business Builder, and that includes the member mentor videos as well. So there's 2 elements to that. There's the e-learning and then the virtual live instructor led that Jenny and I did that is a recording.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that might give you some.
Yeah, it's one of those things that we still haven't even gotten a CSC on the ground yet. So we're still working off of our old DCs. So there's very limited as to what we're able to push through.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
We'll keep reaching out. Gina, I feel like you and I have become pen pals. So we'll just keep the conversation going, and I'll assign whatever I can and give you the resources I can.
Pen pals and conferences and everything else, I'm happy to be on the crazy boats.
Well, you don't have a choice now. Welcome. Toot toot. Jennifer.
Sorry about that. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. I usually text our new members weekly, see how they're doing on MSP, see how they're doing on their passport. But with the new system, you said that I thought I heard where the mentor coordinators are supposed to be meeting with them weekly. Did I hear that, or did I just dream that?
I think some people are choosing to do that. I don't know that that's necessarily part of the recommended program. But I think someone needs to be meeting with them. They're supposed to be having one-to-ones with the member mentors. But it'll be up to you as the mentor coordinator to be tracking to make sure those are happening. Because it's one thing to say, here, go do it. Because some of us would just be responsible and accountable and we would do it. Some people need a little nudging. And so you're the nudger.
Oh, believe me, they know it. They know it. I mean, I say that, like my husband says, I'm not a nag, I'm just a gentle pusher or something like that. But I'm like that with our new members. And but I think I like the way you've incorporated the MSP in them. I tell them, do the MSP, get it done within 30 days so you can get on the board and do your presentation. But now it seems to me that it's more incorporated with the passport, because passport we want done within 60 days, right? And is that right? Or
well, MSP officially needs to be done in 60 days, best case scenario. We also want the MSP 2.0 to be done in 8 weeks, which is coincidentally about 60 days. Right?
Okay.
Because it's 2 months. So if they're doing that
60 days. Okay.
and they're tracking the passport, what they're going to do is they're actually, it's like a Venn diagram. And there's, I have to do 10 one-to-ones. Here's this Venn diagram. I have to complete all these modules for the passport, for the MSP. Oh, look, these get done over here. So they're just going through it more efficiently.
Right. It does seem more efficient because when we have orientation, I give a list of who to call for the member mentors. And then I give them a description of what that member mentor is supposed to talk to them about. And because sometimes the member mentors don't remember because they just don't. So so everybody knows what they're supposed to talk about. Okay, well, I have a couple questions, but I'll talk to Megan about that so I don't use up any more of your time. But thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Oh, good. Thanks, Jennifer. Yeah. Hey, Luke.
Hey, actually, one of my questions you just answered about the timing on that. But I noticed I haven't had a chance to go through the MSP 2.0 yet. But I noticed in some of the slides there were boxes that we would check off as they completed certain things, and some of them were one-to-ones, and I noticed there was a column for members and a column for mentors, and I didn't notice in the mentor column there was a box for the mentor to check that they'd done the one-to-ones. So is there like an electronic way that somebody other than the member is checking off on those one-to-ones, or is it just sort of we're trusting people? Not that I have a problem with that, but are we just trusting them to be honest about, okay, I had this one-to-one and I did actually talk about the things I had to?
Some of them are just going to be checked off, like all the ones you saw on the screen. BNI Business Builder checked them off when I finished. But speaking to the one-to-ones and some of those other ones, Gina, can you speak to that since you know how that system works better?
Yeah, so the challenge we have with that right at the moment is the way we set it up in Business Builder, that was a default setting in there, but it doesn't have to be checked off to be finished. If they complete the recording, it will show 100% finished. That just happens to be the way Business Builder is designed. And right now we did not build that into it. It's just a default setting that we can't get rid of. And we're trying to use the technology we have. And so that's where we are on that. And so that's why you see it on there. So feel free to ignore it and trust that people are operating on the honor system when it comes to the one-to-ones, because that's a separate activity from the actual videos and e-learnings and whatnot. So
I've been through it, Judy. I can answer that question.
Wow, you are a real cowboy, Jay. Look at you.
Yeah. Yes, you can't advance a week until the member checks the boxes, but the member coordinator doesn't have to do anything. The mentor coordinator rather doesn't have to do anything on that, and the members check it off themselves under an honor system on there. But it won't let you to advance to the next week until the member does check them off.
Right.
Okay. And do they have to do them a week at a time, or could somebody knock out all 8 weeks in like one week?
Oh, yeah.
If they can talk somebody into all the one-to-ones, they can finish it.
And in the interest of time, I will say that most of the questions that we probably have are answered in the FAQ docs and the chapter and director docs that we have available for you too. So please use those, because you're going to get a lot of these same questions from your chapter members and other folks in your chapter leaders as we're learning about this. So
yeah, that's true.
We'll be making sure you have those.
Okay. All right. Ellen, you can be the last question. But unmute so we can hear you. Nope, you're still muted. It's a silent movie.
Yes.
Your hat looks good. And I know